what are your views on the grouping of lesbians, gays, bisexual, and now trans to form the LGBT?
Well, I basically take the same view as Julie, which is that lesbians and gay men didn't have very much in common from the outset, had totally different demands, totally different interests, and much more. My view, I've said this quite often in recent years, is that the whole of what Dave Chappelle calls the alphabet people car has become a clown car because none of it fits together. The first two letters don't fit together very well. The lesbians and the gays don't have very much in common. Everyone's suspicious of bisexuals. A lot of people just don't believe they exist particularly, or at least think that it's, bi now, gay later, as they used to say. Then the trans people come along. They have nothing in common with any of the other people in the grouping, because that's about the mysterious gender unicorn nonsense, where you can suddenly be whatever sex you want to be, depending on how you feel that morning when you get out of bed, which has nothing to do with being gay or being lesbian, which is certainly not a choice, because who wants a choice of, certainly for most of history, making their life a bit harder. So the T people come along and help turn it into a total clown car, and then you get the disaster of the thing extending and extending until you get the asexuals thrown in. As I always like to say, there's no bigger difference in nature than that between asexuals and gay men. You get into this two-spirit people. What's that? It's something to do with Native Americans. Okay, what have Native Americans got to do with lesbians in Brighton and London? Nothing at all. In other words, this has just become a great big messy soup of people, mainly in recent years, of people saying, I want a bit of that. I've objected actually to it most of my life, to the whole pride thing. Mainly on taste grounds, it has to be said. I don't mind. I very much enjoy having a party. I don't begrudge anyone having a party. I do begrudge people mistaking their sexuality for some massively important signifier, which demands that other people then not just respect them, but pay them some special dues. And actually, in actual fact, you could see this. So I've stumbled across Pride a couple of times in my time. I've never gone, but I've stumbled across it a few times. And one of the things is, on a simple matter of aesthetics and taste that I deeply dislike, is seeing a bunch of disco gays on top of a bus waving to the public as if they're celebrities. Sorry, love, you're not a celebrity, you're just gay. That's all. And you shouldn't treat the general public as your audience, waiting for them to celebrate the magnificent, wonderful you. So I think there's just this nasty narcissism at the heart of this. And I've got no time for it. And just one other quick point. I actually very much, Julie and I, I'm sure, would disagree on lots of things. She's of the political left, and I'm not. I'm sure we disagree on lots of things. But one thing we absolutely, I think, find ourselves in agreement on is that there's a new misogyny wrapped up in this movement now. And if anyone wants to see that, they can see the fact, and I can't stress this enough, I try to stress it wherever I go these days, that I say things about trans issues which Julie says, which J.K. Rowling and others say, and I get absolutely no blowback. I mean, partly I don't care anyway. But the point is that I get no blowback. I don't get mad, purple-haired maniacs gluing themselves to the floor when I speak in public. Julie Bindel gets the threats, gets these people hounding her. J.K. Rowling gets them. Kathleen Stock gets them. If anyone wants an absolute proof of this, there's a disgusting website that is the residue of a defunct gay paper called Pink News, run by a pseudo-journalist called Ben something or other. They have run thousands and thousands of articles in recent years attacking J.K. Rowling, basically as the devil incarnate. She holds precisely the same views on trans that I do. She holds precisely the same views on trans as her fellow Scottish writer Irvine Welsh does. How many times has Pink News attacked Irvine Welsh? Zero. They believe, and this is a very important point if I can say so, the weird alphabet people, clown car people, believe that they should be allowed to control lesbians and gays and women in particular. They believe that if we don't have precisely the lockstep views they have, we are traitors. And the people that they believe they should have the right to control the most are women. They are so disgusting, these people.
I of course agree. The misogyny is rife. And I also haven't been on a Pride March for a very, very long time. I got sick of the roller skating nuns. And I got sick. I mean, no, obviously each to their own. I didn't want to see men's hairy asses hanging out of their leather chaps. I just didn't, and still don't. And also, I'm delighted to say that, thank you for mentioning Pink News, because I did in fact sue them for defamation. And we settled after 18 months of litigation, where I'd love to think I handed them their ass in those chaps. But to talk about the hellish kind of clown car, which is a great phrase, Douglas, I love that. The LGBTQI2 Spirit Plus now is resembling more of an unbreakable Wi-Fi code than it is anything that speaks to same-sex attracted people, which is, of course, what we should be talking about. We have something in common, even though, one side are men and one side are women. The gender woo-woos that have come in are just absolutely bonkers. And you're right that they target women. They target lesbians in particular. They really hate us. They target women because if you think about the clever ruse of trans activism, what it's done is it's positioned me as, they would say, a cis woman, as the oppressor of a trans woman. So therefore, the oppressor class, the privileged class, whether you believe in patriarchy or not, whether you think women are oppressed, we all know that there's a disadvantage that women face in life compared to like men. And we are now the oppressor of men who identify as women. Now, Rachel Dolezal wasn't allowed to do that. Rachel Dolezal, the white woman who masqueraded as having African heritage, she was not allowed. In fact, she was the biggest villain that had ever walked the earth. So why is that? And my answer is this. It's just a new men's rights movement. But this time it's populated in the main, and I'm not letting the right wing off the hook for misogyny, not at all, but it's populated in the main by men who claim to be leftists, Owen Jones, for example, who say that they're progressive. But I think, in my mind, my opinion, really hate women that are too big for our boots.
Yeah.
So long as they're shouting the loudest and we're in tow, they don't mind. But my God, do they hate us feminists, and they give us a good kicking via the trans ideology